Hi everyone, it's Shannon from StampendouslyShannon. Today we are going to be making a book list for our Stampin' Up! Planners. So I've done a few different pages similar to this, but today we're going to do something very, very different. Now, this is actually an idea that I got from Plan with Ilysse, and she is a happy planner. Amongst other things. She also does a lot of budgeting and things like that. But one of the things that she has done is she actually made a printable, which basically allows her to keep track of all of the books that she's reading. And I think that her page holds 100 books. So I wanted to do something similar for my planner, but I wanted it to, of course, fit into my Stampin' Up! Planner, and I also wanted to use my stamps. So today I'm going to do something that I think will work for that purpose without having to have a printable, so to speak. So first thing first, we are going to make some cutie letters for our page here. So this is already cut to 5.5 by 8.5, which is the dimensions that work with the planner punch board. And the dimensions that work with the Stampin' Up! Planner. So I went ahead and pre-punched it. This is just a piece of basic white. And we're going to make this super fancy and pretty, hopefully. So we're going to start with just some scrap pieces of paper. And I chose these colors because I did some examples here. We wanted it to be light enough so that we can see through it. So rather than stamping and then stamping off again, I'm just going to start with some light colors, and then maybe throughout the time of, me going through all of the books that I've read over the year, I may have to, stamp off and find out some other colors, but for right now, I'm just going to start with some of these lighter colors. So I chose Pale Papaya, Fresh Freesia, and Parakeet Party. So I think these are going to be good to start with. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little sign for our page that says book list. And I'm going to stamp in Fresh Freesia, the letters, and then I'm going to do the border in Parakeet Party. And these are great because it actually has a punch. So I went ahead and found all of my letters here. So we have a B, just like that, and an O, and we're going to need two O's because there's two O's in the word book, of course. So we'll do two O's, and then we're going to also do a K. All right. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip. So I'm going to outline these ones in Parakeet Party, but I'm going to stamp now the rest of the letters for the word list in Parakeet Party. So we will do an L, and then all the rest of my letters are on here. I was nervous that they were going to get lost, so I just threw them on there, so I'll have to sort those out. And for this, since we're going to punch them out, it doesn't really matter if they're upside down or not, but I'm just going to do that so that we can try to get them all on this one sheet here. And then a T. So this is, you can punch or you can die cut letters out. You can, of course, just stamp them right on the page, but I really like the way that this looks. So let's get our adhesive sheet. So if you've been watching my videos at all, you know that I routinely forget my adhesive sheets. So today I set them on my desktop so that way I would not forget to do so. So these are just simply like basically big double-sided sheet stickers, and you peel off one side and put your item on it, and then you do the other side, and we're going to need both sides because I'm going to put the letters and book on here too. So let's try to get that off. And then we have book. And we do have to punch these, so we do need to be just a little bit careful about our placement. But this should totally work. So now the last step we have to do for our stamping is I'm just going to use this little border right here. And I'm going to put him on, actually, you know what, I'm going to clear off one of my blocks here. I'm just going to stack them all on one block, and then it'll be easy to clean. The letters are, well, they're not hard to clean, but they are since they're so tiny and they're fiddly, when you rub them across your chamois, if that's what you use to clean your stamps, they just kind of, sometimes I think they fall off. So I like doing them in groups like that anyway. So let's go ahead and put our little border on here. And then we are going to do the outline around these three in Fresh Freesia and vice versa for the word book. So make sure we stamp that enough. And there's the L and the I and the S, and we did that one sideways, so you just gotta make sure we get them sideways, and the T. And the border is completely the same, right? So you don't have to worry too much about which direction the border is going, but we do need our chamois here because I'm gonna need to clean that off in between. We got kind of lucky with the words book and list because there were no duplicates. I didn't have to clean anything off. But for this guy, make sure he's clean. All right, and then the B and the O and the O and the K. And I kind of like them. Sometimes I'll go back through and make sure that everything is, you know, even and perfect, but this is just for a planner page, and I rather like kind of the scattered look, so to speak. So they're not all going to be perfect, and that's okay with me. So I'm going to go ahead and punch. So there's our T. Now the greatest thing about this is because we use that adhesive sheet, it basically turned it into a sticker. So we don't have to worry about putting adhesive on the back of all of these. We are going to have to cut this apart though, I think, in order to get to all of our letters. And we have to do even more than that, actually. Which is okay. This is kind of the downside of using scraps, but also the upside is that, of course, you save your stamping money. You don't have to spend extra money on, you know, additional things. So let's go ahead and get this guy out. And these are really cute for scrapbooking as well as planner pages, and also for cards. You can definitely use these. You can spell out how old somebody is, or spell out their name. So you can spell out, you know, if you have a kid in your life, a grandchild, or maybe a niece or something that is turning 2, you can write the word 2 and then put that on the card, the front of the card. You can also use it to spell the word thanks or hello, hi. There's tons of ideas actually in the annual catalog too, which is where this stamp set can be found. Let's go ahead and cut that off. And oh, that S is pretty lopsided, but that's okay. Did not get him even. And then we'll flip it over. And all of these different items, like all of the different borders, will be punched out by the same stamp here. Or, sorry, excuse me, by the same punch. All of the border stamps will be punched out with this same punch. And this is like a micro punch. It is tiny, you know, it's you know, smaller than my pinky finger. But it's a fun punch, and I use this set actually a lot more. Of all of the alphabet sets that I've ever bought, this is definitely the one that I use the most. So now we're going to spell book list on the top here. And of course, today I'm not really going to finish the page. Today's goal is going to be to get the list started, right? So I have lots of books that are on my to-read list for the year. And this will be my way of keeping track of those different items that I would either like to read or that I am reading or that I have finished. So it is a fun way. I might need to get my take your pick tool out. I thought maybe I could do it with scissors, but there we go. Maybe. We'll see. And I do want the O on the bottom. And if you're worried about alignment, just line them up, just touch them edge to edge, and they will be aligned. So if you make sure that your first one's straight, you can just kind of go straight across. Again, I'm not crazy worried about this being perfect because it is just for my planner. I do, you know, I strive for perfection. I want it to look good, but it doesn't need to be perfect for me. But using a ruler to kind of line up the first one and then just stacking them right next to each other. So after you peel off the back, Of course, you can use any type of, tear and tape or Stampin' Up, stamp and seal, all that kind of stuff. So you just want to line it up like that, and then I usually just drop it and make sure that it's perfect. And then we'll do another K right here. Boop, just like that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put the word list. I think we're going to do it right next to each other, maybe with a little space, just because they are technically, it's not one word. But we're going to put it right across, so that way we have lots of space on the bottom of the page for our actual books that we're going to be making. Again, this is an idea from Plan with Ilysse, and when I saw her do this, I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a cute little printable. I would love to figure out how to make this with Stampin' Up stamps and figure out a way that this would work for me, for my planner. And I went through my stash and I found some, and I thought, well, this isn't perfect, but I think I could make this work. So I was trying to use things that are still in stock, things that people can purchase for, let's see if I can just peel it off with my fingernails. There we go. That might be easier than using the scissors. Let's see. There we go. I will say it's a lot easier still doing this, like just getting the little backs off of them, rather than trying to stamp and seal each one. Although these are not so finicky. If you watched my last video, you'll see that I used on those teeny letters, I forgot my adhesive sheets, and that I put a little Post-it note on the package of the dies and said, don't forget adhesive sheets, because they are very fiddly. They look beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I recommend using them, but man, oh man, they are very fiddly. And this one is, I feel like we're kind of cheating because we got a little edge there, so we were able to get him off really fast. Okay, so there is that. So now we have book list. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a shelf, and I think we're going to do that with soft suede, and we're going to use the brush tip. Now this is not something that I've tried before, but my goal is I'm just going to make like a very, very rough shelf looking item. So it's just basically a straight line, right? I am going to get a ruler for this, and I have just a cheapo ruler here. And we do want to make sure that we're leaving enough space for the stamp that's going to go on it. And that is from the watercolor shapes. So we're going to use this long skinny one here. So let's pull him off. There we go. And so we're going to just make sure that we have, oh, see, that's good. It's good that we have enough space there. So let's pull him off like that. And this is, let's move him down just a little. We don't want to overwhelm our, let's actually move. We may only be able to get 2 shelves on here, but that's okay, because I think we can get, I think we could probably get like 20 books on this, and that's fine, because if we need more, we can always make another one. My goal for the year is going to be about a book a month, maybe probably a little bit more, because there's a few books that I really want to read, and they're all coming out around the same time. But that's my overall goal, is just 1 book a month. I'm not a voracious reader. I would like to start reading more. I read a lot for my job, so I tend not to want to read so much when I get off, but I'm trying to get into it. So again, just a goal for the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just move this down just a little bit. And then again, we're going to take our brush tip, and I'm going to try it out first, because I haven't tried out to see what this is going to look like. So let's get a piece of scrap paper. So I'm just gonna make like a simple line all the way across is what I'm gonna do. And that's gonna be our shelf for our books here. So let's just try it. And I'm a little nervous it's gonna be super crooked, but that's okay. It's gonna be hard, I think, using this ruler. So I'm just gonna try to freehand it. And if we have a little bit of a wonky shelf, that's okay too, I suppose. There. Okay, so that's not so bad. You can see here, I picked up my marker a little bit as I moved across. So if you don't like that, which I'm not a huge fan, just try to kind of work it in. And we'll just maybe do a little bit of light touch up across. This will maybe make it look a little more like wood. Make it look a little more shelf-like, right? Perfect. Okay, so that is our first shelf. And I'm going to make more shelves as we go on. But to start with, let's go ahead and do my first book, because I did finish a book already. And so this fits perfectly on the G block. So we are going to try, we're going to do Pale Papaya, because we haven't used that color yet. And simply all we're going to do is we're just going to ink up our stamp. And the benefit of using really light colors is that you're going to be able to write on it really easily. So then let's put this on the spot here. Ooh, okay, so we did not get that, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to fix it. So this was another idea that I had, was maybe laying some sideways. So we're going to lay some sideways. And this will maybe also give us the appearance of books that are kind of stacked, right? So let's get another color here. Let's try another one. I wish there was like an actual book stamp, but there are book stamps. Let me clarify. There are some book stamps, and Stampin' Up! Has them. There's none that are in the current catalog. So I felt like I didn't want to use anything that was already retired, just in case somebody else wanted to do this too. So let's see. So that's what it looks like full strength, and that's what it looks like stamped off. So I think I'm going to do full strength, because I still think I can get a black marker over the top of that. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to, let's see, let's make it, we got to line it up here on the top. So we want it to be touching, but not, I'm going to have to get my big head in here. Let's see. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. So there's that. And then, so that would be basically the example of what you could do. And, you know, we can keep on going. So let's go ahead and put a Fresh Freesia one on there too, since that's our current books that our current color scheme that we're working with right now. So let's wipe off our stamp here. And then let's stamp off, make sure that it's nice and dry. Yep. And then we're going to go ahead and do a Fresh Freesia. And now we can also kind of make it stack, right? So they don't have to be perfect, because it's like a bookshelf, and it's kind of meant to be like a messy bookshelf. So let's go ahead and stack him like that. So now it looks like it's leaning, right? Leaning on the top. And I didn't get that one perfectly edge to edge, so I could take my Fresh Freesia marker and just draw it in. I'm actually okay with it though. Another thing you could do is you could just make that Pale Papaya stamp up a little bit more on it. But you can see it's lining up really nicely, I think. So that is what we're going to do today for that. The other thing that you can do is kind of decorate the shelves too. So one thing that I thought we could do is we could put a box of flowers using the Swedish cherry set and the cup of tea set right here on the shelf with it. So we are going to use these two sets, and I'm going to use the basket looking stamp here. And I'm going to need to clean off my D block here, at least move them all to one side. Does anybody else do this? Does anybody like stack all your stamps on one block so that you can use the other side of the block? I have tons of blocks, and I don't know why I don't get them out, but I simply don't. I just forget, or I don't, like, they're not on here. I'm like, oh, I like the D block, so I'll just use the D block. So let's go ahead and get this nice and inked up. So this is going to be in soft suede, same as our shelf, so that'll look really nice. And we're just going to put our little basket right on the edge of the shelf. We're going to make sure that it is touching just a little bit. And I have in the past, this is a stamp that I feel like I do have to, I usually say, like, you know, don't press too hard. But this is one stamp that I do have to press a little harder because I feel like I struggle to get the edges. And you can use your Stamparatus for that, and that would actually probably really help. But I simply forget to pull my Stamparatus out. Or it's not always convenient, right? So like getting the whole Stamparatus out, sometimes it's not exactly, you know, the easiest thing to do. It's not right on the top of my pile of things I'd like to work on. So I tend to use just my blocks. And with that comes the responsibility of organizing your stamps as you go. So this is what we're going to do. So now this is the cup of tea set. And this right here is just the little like fern grass out of it. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to stamp that inside of the basket. So there are other plant sets. So there's like soft succulents, or actually soft succulent is a color, but there's a succulent stamp set. There's also like like another fern kind of stamp set. But I really liked the idea of using this one, and I really thought that it was it'll be a nice little addition to our shelf here. So there we go. And then now this was in Pear Pizzazz. So it's a little bit of a darker green, and intentionally so, right? Because I wanted it to look realistic. So I could have used that Parakeet Party, but I think it's a little too bright for plants, according to me. But I think it looks like a basket with flowers in it, right? Or a basket with, you know, some type of greenery in it. And that is our book list, right? So now the last step that we can do, and so obviously we need to make a second shelf down here, and maybe stack some more books. We need to do some more books here, definitely. So I think we can probably fit, I mean, we can go ahead and do that. Let's pick out a polished pink. Let's go ahead and let's make this whole shelf here. So we'll do a polished pink. And I think that this one will be light enough as is, because we're going to be using a black marker. So I'm not super worried about it. Here we go. And then I think we can fit maybe one more right here, right? So let's use, Orchid Oasis. I think that'll be a good color. It's a blue color. We don't have any blues on here, but we do have, you know, some pale papaya. We have some oranges. We have purple. So, and I think Orchid Oasis will still be light enough that we can write on it. But we can also check real quick. So just let's grab a piece of paper, a little piece of scrap. Yeah, so I think we could probably write on that still. Might be a little, let's see what it looks like stamped off. Oh, I'm a little nervous to stamp it on that. Oh, okay, so let's stamp off once, and then we will add, I think that'll be better if we stamp off once. Let's turn it over, we'll stamp off once, and then we're going to stamp it right here. Oh, yes, that's perfect. And now, again, now I said this already, but the last step, the actual last step for our bookshelf here is we are going to take our black marker, and I'm just going to use the Stampin' Right black marker. And I'm going to use the fine tip. So they have earlier when we made the shelf, we used the brush tip. And I think I might have even said the bullet tip. So there's the bullet tip and the brush tip. So this is the brush tip, right? It's like a paintbrush. And this is the bullet tip because it's hard and pointy. And so we're going to use the bullet tip on our book here. And my first book that I read was Angels at the Table by Debbie Maycomber. So we'll just write Angels at the Table. Okay. And then I'm almost done with another book. It actually just came out. And I was pretty excited about it, so I read it right away. And that book was called Spare, and that one's by Prince Harry. So we'll just write Spare, just like that. And that's it. So now this page can go inside of my planner, and I can kind of categorize and organize all the books I read. So for me, this will be kind of chronological as well. So this is the first book I read, second book I read, and then I'll just kind of write and fill them in as we go. Then the next step will be to make a second shelf. And I thought I pulled out another stamp set that I think would be a really cute little compliment. And it's a recent stamp set from the new mini catalog. And I thought, look at this. So I have a kitty. I think kitties are in the crafting community. They are definitely there. Of course, I haven't even used this stamp set, but I have a little black kitty specifically. And when I saw this stamp set, I thought exactly of my kitty. So I thought either this stamp right here, he does this a lot, or this one with his tail hanging down. I thought that would be just such a cute little addition to our bookshelf here. So instead of our flower pot or our flower basket up there, maybe we could just put a little kitty cat right here, hanging off the top of our shelf, so that we have some dimension to it. It's not just like a shelf, a line with a bunch of rectangles on it. It's got, you know, looks like a real bookshelf, right? So my bookshelves are all decorated very much, like they have mugs on them and things. There are some stamp sets that have mugs on them. I thought this one was kind of a little too big to be like a true, like, I think it would be disproportionate to our books. So I thought about using that, but decided not to. But there is another stamp set that does have a cup in it. There's actually two. And I think the Nothing's Better Than set has a cup, and I think that one could be really cute on it. But I'm not going to do it on this page. I'm going to try it with the kitty, and then we'll go from there. So that is my little tutorial for the day, is how to make a book list for your Stampin' Up! Planner. And if you have any questions about this project or any questions about Stampin' Up!, please let me know. Also, if you're interested in receiving an annual catalog or a new mini catalog or a celebration brochure, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to send one of those to you for free of charge if you live in the United States. I live in the United States, so that is why I can only send them to the United States, but I do know demonstrators in other places and would be happy to send you to one of them as well. And then Celebration is a promotion where every $50 you spend, you receive a free product from Stampin' Up! You get to choose the product, and they are cumulative, right? So if you spend $150, you can get 3 $50 items, or you can get one $100 item and one $50 item. And the little brochure goes over all of that stuff and also gives you all of the different options that you'll have. Those can also be found online too. But I'm really excited to show you this, and I hope that you'll make a book list. And feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, so I just wanted to come back on and show you what the finished product looks like. So I went ahead and rather than just leaving it at one shelf, I went ahead and made my second shelf and added all the books in. And I don't know exactly how many books are on here, but it's a lot more than 12. So I am set for the year. So even if I get to my 12 goal, I still have plenty of room for other books. So hopefully I'll read more than 12 and then I can add in more books. So you can see what I did. I did want to point out a couple of things. I added a book here because I thought that it would definitely fit on this shelf. There's even really some more room for books over here and over here. So in the event that I do read more, I can always go back and kind of add in a couple more books up here too. You can see I laid some cattywampus, some are sideways. Down here I did a horizontal book stack. I actually dropped my stamp here, so that's why we have two that are the exact same color, because I had to cover up my mistake. And perhaps the cutest thing that I added is this cute little kitty cat right here. So one thing that I would do if I were doing this again, I would mask off the hearts. I think they're okay. I'm happy to leave them there. How I fixed this was I went ahead and colored in the heart in Melon Mambo and then just stamped a book over the top of it. So, you know, the black is not going to show that color. And then since I color the heart in the same color, it just looks really cute. So that is the finished product. And again, I'll just write the titles of the books that I read in these books, and I think it's super cute, and it's going to fit just so swell inside of my planner. So we can even show what that'll look like, right? So there's the goals page we made, and we're just going to put this page right behind it. Just like that. There we go. So now we have a super cute book list to keep track of all the books we read. So if you have any questions or you want any of those catalogs that I talked about, feel free to reach out to me. All of the contact information is in the box below. And I hope you have a great day. See you next time.